guys, my name is Danielle Nicol, and we're back with another video. And today I have a special guest with me.
Eli, how y'all doing?
Thank you, Eli, for joining the show. Today we're going to dive into relationship talk, friendship talk, and just getting different viewpoints from a female's perspective versus a male perspective. A lot of times we have our own certain ways, and then guys have expectations too. So today I just want to talk about the differences and how they could co-align, I guess.
Let's do it.
All right, so I'm a female, right? And I'm a very sensitive female at that. And when it comes to relationships, I'm soft. So I want my guy to be soft. I want my guy to be romantic. I want him to pay attention to me and things of that nature. But today's life, the guys are like, nobody's serious. Like, and I can't take that. So I just want to understand from your point, why are guys not serious? Most guys.
Well, believe it or not, I put a lot of the blame on men, right? Because at the end of the day, we're the leaders, we're at the forefront, we're supposed to lead the society, and we ain't been doing a good job of that. So I'll start there by saying that.
Okay.
But as far as why, we don't take it serious, that's hard. That's subjective. Some men do, some men don't. But it's also about who you're dealing with, right? Like at the end of the day, if you come across somebody that is serious, that stand on business, that know, like, you're not going to play with them, a man not going to play with that person.
Okay.
But if you a person who you live a certain type of lifestyle where it's not feeding that purpose, like if you want to be a wife and you live in a lifestyle that doesn't align with being a wife, then there's always that friction. So it's always a sense of, for me as a man, there's always a sense of like, is that something this person really wants? Because they're saying that they want it, but on the opposite end, it's like you kind of not seeing it.
Okay. And when you say not seeing it, I'm just going to use myself as an example. Right. So I do many things when it comes to like my work ethic, excuse me. So I have a day job. I work in the engineering industry. I also do Airbnb on the side, right? I'm now doing a podcast, and I'm also a bottle girl. And so I'm running into a lot of guys that may or may not take me serious because I'm a bottle girl, right? So we wearing skimpy things all the time, and we always have to be in a guy's face to get them to book a section and things of that nature. But just because I'm a bottle girl, that doesn't mean I don't want a serious relationship. And so when I meet a guy, I let them know my goals and what I'm trying to get to, and that I actually don't want to do nightlife anymore. Nothing against nightlife and for the people who are doing nightlife, but that's just something that I've grown to not want to do anymore, because life is all about growth, right?
Yeah.
And so when I'm finding a guy and I'm letting them know about everything that I'm wanting to do, why... You can't answer this directly, but I just want to know, like, why am I still facing issues? And if the guy is not going to do, if they hear everything that I'm saying and they're not going to do anything to try to help push me out of that or support me out of that, I don't know.
Well, I would say like just depending on the type of men you're dating.
Okay.
Right. Like if and this goes for anybody, is you kind of have to reassess, right? Because if you're constantly coming across the same issues, then you may be dating the same type of man.
Okay.
And there may be a level of uncomfort that you have to face, and you might have to sacrifice some things. Like he may not be as successful, but he is provided. He may not be doing so at a level where you would like for it to be, but in the opposite, he's coming through with so many other things, so many other qualities. Like,
okay.
And I think that's, oftentimes is, and even in a male's perspective too, like we'll date the same type of woman and expect a different result. And, that's, Albert Einstein said that's the definition of insanity, is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So I think it's just, just kind of changing who you dating, number one.
Okay.
And from there, kind of doing more due diligence up front. Like, and it can kind of get lonely.
When you say due diligence, like, explain a little bit more about that.
Due diligence is like vetting, like your vetting process. So like, if you date a guy and he's seeming to be what it is, maybe not give him so much access. And I'm not saying this is you, but like maybe not give so much up front, like kind of starve him out a little bit.
Okay.
And I probably shouldn't be saying this, but I'm so openly blunt. It is what it is. Like,
Okay, talk about it.
you should just like starve them out a little bit. Like, give them something to like be like,
Look
man,
forward
it's
to.
some of you know what I'm saying? Like, it's curiosity. Like men have it, once the curiosity is gone, once it's, you given everything that he's been looking, he's like, okay, there's something about her. Like, what is it? What is it that's doing it for me? And then once he figure it out, he'll move on to the next thing. Got to kind of keep starving him out a little bit, keep starving him out a little bit, just to see how far and how high he'll go, just to get you.
Yeah. So what if you do like starve him out, right? Like let's say you starve him out for a month. And then is that a month? Is that long? Is that
I
not
mean,
long?
it's subjective. Every situation is different. I mean, when I say starve him out, I mean from when I say starve them out, I mean just solely from access to you. Yeah. And it could take however long. I mean, this depends on the guy. Like it may only be a week.
Yeah.
It may be 10 weeks.
Mhm.
It just depends on who you're dealing with, who you're talking to. And it's hard out here. Like I'll be
Right.
honest, it's hard. It's not easy dating in today's society. Like it's not back then. It's just you didn't have no internet. You didn't have no cell phones. Like, and if you did, you didn't have that same access to, several different options.
Right.
So now it's like everybody feel like, they can just move on to the next at immediately. Like, oh, you're not doing this and that. Okay, I'll go find somebody. And then you run into the same situation again.
Over and over. Yeah.
So I don't. I think that's this whole generation of dating is just totally warped. And if you do want to find somebody that's along the same alignment that you on, you got to really do your due diligence and be upfront. I know women are very vocal.
Yes.
Upfront, like y'all let it be known, like this is what it is. This is what I want. And men, we got to do the same thing too. We can't just be out here not voicing what it is that we want, because that's what's leading astray. And that goes back to what I said at first, which was we dropped the ball.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess you have some valid points. I just want to know, like, even if you wait a week, 2 weeks, or whatever time frame you have in your head, I just haven't been seeing like a real big difference whether you wait or give that person access to you in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or whatever. So I guess I want to ask you, like, how do you vet a woman out, and how do you feel like, okay, like she's the one? Yeah. Let's talk about it.
Well, I the way I vet is like, it's like I kind of first I go for personality, right?
Okay.
And
that's big.
Energy speaks to me before anything else, right? Like I have to feel you before I ever hear anything you say.
Okay.
And because oftentimes people just say whatever, and it's like anybody can say anything, but it's about what you're doing as well. So like I have to feel that energy. Like I gotta feel like you a woman who can move me. That's number one. Also, two, what you got going for yourself, right? And we as men, honestly, at the end of the day, wherever you at in life, we'll accept. Like we're not. It's different in opposition to men versus women versus women versus men. Women have a set standard, which as you should, of a type of man you want to deal with. Men, we just go in and say, she got potential. Let's go ahead and take it to the top from there.
Yeah.
And that could be bad too, because you choose wrong. Oftentimes you choose the woman that you don't want instead of choosing the woman that you want. And that's big. Like you can't be out here choosing based off of what you think. Like you see a beautiful woman and you want to go and fund her lifestyle instead of this woman that's over here. She may not be as beautiful. She may not be as charming. She may not have all of these things going for herself, but she really fuck with you. That's the one you should go for.
Yeah.
And that's kind of typically how I deal with my situations. Like if she gonna do what I need her to do, if she gonna be there for me, if she gonna provide a safe space, if she gonna do all of these things that don't come with, that don't come with something in exchange. Obviously, I want to be useful.
Yeah.
Use me. Just use me. Like use me. I gotta be used, man. I'm useful, and vice versa. I don't want to deal with somebody that's useless. So
yeah.
That's kind of how I do my vetting process. Is just personality, what a woman to do for me, how she responds to certain situations, emotional intelligence, career path, those types of things are the things that I look for.
Okay, I'm glad you touched on career path last. So I want to circle back to the nightlife scene and being diverse and everything that I do.
Okay.
Okay, so let's say you meet a woman who has a lot going. She's an entrepreneur, right? But she also in nightlife. At that point, because she's always in guys' faces, and that could mess with a guy. I mean, I understand. So because she's always in guys' faces, trying to get them to book, guys trying to take her on dates, guys trying to pursue her, things of that nature, would you still want to talk to someone in that life? Or would you kind of put them like on a back burner because that's what she does to get income?
So I could do it. And in order for you to do it, you got to be a man of self-confidence. You got to be a man of security, right? You can't be insecure talking to no beautiful woman, number one. And being in the nightlife, like, because I also work in the nightlife, and I don't mix business with pleasure, number one.
Okay.
So if I do deal with somebody, like, either you got to go over there to another spot, or you just not gonna be working in nightlife. Like, that's just me. Like, I can't, because although I am secure in myself, like, I don't want to see you talking to a lot of niggas, being in a lot of niggas' face. Like, that's not what I want to see.
Right.
At work, especially. And let's say we at odds or something like that, and I come to work and I have to see that. Like, that will
put you in a bad space. Like, what?
Yeah, and I didn't come here. We didn't come here for that. We came here to make money. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
And the energy got to be just that. Like, whatever's at home, leave it at home.
Yeah.
And I don't want to bring that to work. And I'm not a perfect person.
Right.
I'm disciplined and structured, but at the same time, I fall victim.
Right.
So I couldn't.
So you okay with it, but you guys just can't work in the same.
We can't be in the same vicinity.
Right. Yeah. Okay. But you don't have an issue with it. Like, it doesn't bother you that.
Eventually, I would want to, if there's an escape route, yes.
Okay.
If there's an escape route, yeah, it got to be an escape route.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay. All right. Let's switch gears and let's talk about friendships and expectations that you may have or that I may have when it comes to our friendships. We're going to take a quick break and then we'll be right back. Hi guys, welcome back to Danielle Nicol Show. We're back here with Eli. So we were talking about friendships and how I feel when it comes to personal friendships and how he feels when it comes to his personal friendships. So I was saying that I don't really have a lot of friends. I have more associates than friends because to me, when it comes to a friend, I expect a lot of you, out of you. And what I mean by that is I want you to be present and not all the time, right? But like, I'm sharing like deep things with you. And so I have to trust you. And not everybody's to be trusted. So that's why I'm kind of iffy about that. How do you feel about friendships? And what are your expectations?
So I don't have any expectations.
With friends?
With any
or anything?
I don't have any expectations with anybody.
Why?
Because at least for me, it's self-disappointment. Like, if I expect you to do something and you don't do it, I'm gonna be disappointed.
So how do you set a standard if there's no expectations?
So a standard is different from an expectation. So a standard is at the forefront, right? A standard is like what I'm gonna accept up front. An expectation is what I expect you to do. Like, it's like I expect you to stick around for 5 years, but who's to say if you will? A standard is you can't come with you have to be employed. You got to have some type of income coming in or something. Like, that's the standard. Like, I can't. So I separate the two.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah, so I don't have expectations for people. Like, I don't, because I don't want to be disappointed. I will be disappointed. I'll expect way more than what they're giving oftentimes, and that's what has pushed me to this point where I'm like, I don't expect things from people.
Yeah, that makes sense. So that makes me actually like self-reflect a little bit.
Yeah.
To not have so much expectations from people, because that does lead to disappointment.
Yeah.
Okay. So when it comes to standards, what are your standards from a good friend?
So somebody that's and I was talking about this earlier. I kind of look at that, and I got like the 33%, right? Where it's like 33% of the people around you need to be arguably need to be like yes men. Like somebody around you can tell you yes. Somebody around you who could be there for you. Somebody around who's just always there for you. Just whatever you need, babes, kids, go pick them up for whatever, right? Somebody
Yeah.
just
A support system.
a support system.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need those type of people.
Okay.
The other 33% is somebody who's gonna tell you like what it is,
Yeah.
regardless of how you feel about it, how it affects your mood, how it affects who you are as a person.
Mhm.
You need that reality in your life. You need somebody that's gonna tell you like, hey, this is what it is. You looking fat today, you need to get your ass in the gym. Like
No,
this,
just looking fat today.
this is what it is. You need those type of people. And for me, it's easy for me because like, we don't like hold back. Like you ever listen to conversations with me, we talk thorough to each other. It's like,
Yeah.
this is what it is. We're not sugarcoating. So I think it's real good to have that in your corner as well. And then the other 33% is somebody that's above you,
Okay.
like somebody that's more successful than you, somebody that's in a position where you want to be.
Yeah.
Like that's how I pretty much look at what I would consider to be friends.
Mhm.
And as far as like expectations and stuff, I can't set any expectations, because if you do something for me, then it's a surprise. It's like surprise. It's like,
Yeah. Like, okay, thank you.
that was okay. I didn't expect that. You just
Right.
heard some cool points from me. Like
Right.
that's ideally how I like for things to be.
Okay.
And my standards are pretty much a base set of standards. It's not nothing too crazy. You got to be having some type of emotion. I mean, you can't be in my life and not doing nothing.
Right.
Like friend, family member, relationship, situationship, whatever. Like you can't come into my life and not be having no type of emotion. You got to be going somewhere, doing something.
Mhm. Okay, so what if you're setting a standard for a friend that you've known for, I don't know, 5+ years, right? And they're meeting your standard, and at some point you still feel like if they're doing it, they've been doing this for the past 5 years, you wouldn't have no small expectation at all.
To do something different?
No, for them to keep doing like what they've always done,
Yeah, most definitely. Like if you've
shown a pattern.
yeah. Okay, so I see what you're saying. So if you've been doing something for so long and even still, I still wouldn't have an expectation, because
Sure.
I know people change. I know
Okay.
things happen all the time. Like
Okay.
like if you was always coming to pick me up from the gym, or we was always going to the gym every day for 5 years, and all of a sudden you just stopped
Hmm.
and you just started going with somebody else, or you just started just saying fuck the gym or whatever the case may be. Like I that would have been the standard before. It's like a um it would have just been a normalcy. Like I wake up, I know I'm going to the gym with this person every single day,
Yeah.
and now we're not going. So it's like I'm not my expectations haven't been well, I never had an expectation, but at the same time, like you this is what was normal for me.
Yeah.
Like, this was the standard. This was the standard that I set for myself. Like I'm gonna hold myself accountable. I'm gonna make sure I'm being consistent and showing up.
Hmm.
And at the moment that you don't, it's just like, all right, well, fuck it. I mean, you didn't show up, so I gotta keep showing up.
So I want to ask you, what advice can you give to someone like me who has always lived her life by expectation?
It's a good question. Some advice. You always look so, but it's different for yourself,
Okay. How so?
because you can have expectations for yourself
Okay.
because you're in control of that.
Yeah. No, not expectations for just me, but like with others. Like if I meet someone, friend, no friend, mom, dad, like I have expectations of people as my mom, my dad, my sister, brother. And so, like you mentioned, that can lead to disappointment. So what advice can you give to someone like me who has lived her life that way? Or anybody who lives
I'm still gonna stick to my roots. I'm still gonna stick to my roots. The expectation thing is so what if they don't meet your expectations? Mom, dad, uncle,
Mhm.
do you just cast them out? Because at the end of the day, they still gonna be your mama, your daddy,
Right.
and that's where that unconditional, that love factor comes into play. Because it's like, I wouldn't I wouldn't X them out at the end of the day. Like that's still somebody that I value, that I want to hold close to me. You're just not doing what I expected you to do. And again, that's why I can't.
I'm just like thinking about it, like, cause like I have children. I'm just gonna relate
Yeah.
to myself. So I have children, and my children expect me to bring them food, right? I'm sure they expect that. They expect for me to provide a roof over their head. And so like the same when it comes to me and like family members or friends. But you're saying like I should maybe
Well, I think as far as your children, they're gonna have that expectation because there's only a certain that's the reality that they're used to.
right.
But when they get to a certain age and a certain development in life, where it's like those expectations are constantly not being met, and even a person at any age, like you keep having these expectations and they're not being met, it leads to disappointment.
Right.
Like I expect for it to be sunny every day, but when I walk outside and it's raining, I don't like that. I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
Like I'm like this is that's what I would expect money to just hit my account abundantly every single day. But
Amen.
I mean, it just don't happen like that. Like
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
So instead of me creating a space where I know disappointment will stem, I just set it up differently. Like
Yeah.
I just reposition my thought process on that. I don't have any expectations.
Yeah. No, I was just thoroughly interested in your viewpoint on that. Just again, so I can self-reflect.
Yeah.
And so I was really interested to hear like
Love some self.
your advice
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I feel like we touched on some really great topics and some really great viewpoints from my perspective and also your perspective. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.